Sapere aude. Have courage to think for yourself. This was the leitmotif of Immanuel Kant and his understanding of the Enlightenment. Kant revolutionized thought with his critique of pure reason and the transcendental logic and idealism that he burst open. So Kant is the king of the Enlightenment because he understood the Enlightenment from within, but also overcame the Enlightenment movement. His leitmotif, sapere aude, to have courage to think for oneself, will also be the leitmotif of my upcoming course on Immanuel Kant's critical philosophy, which is now open for enrollment. In honor of Immanuel Kant's 300th birthday, we will read the most important sections of the Critique of Pure Reason and also devote one lecture and seminar on the second critique, the Critique of Practical Reason, and one on the Critique of Judgment, which is the third critique. In the first 6 lectures, we will discuss such important notions and ideas by Kant as the transcendental aesthetic, his theory of time and space, why Kant believed that and saw so profoundly that metaphysics has become a battleground, and indeed what this means for the system of reason being turned into an ideological battleground in our time and our epoch. We will look at the transcendental deduction, that is to say, the justification for the categories, the distinction between phenomena and noumena, the way in which Kant tried to overcome the traditional distinction between the intelligible and the sensible world. We will consider Kant especially also as a philosopher of freedom. So we will see as we stride through the first critique that what is always already here in place and working itself out is the ethical dimension, which we will discuss when we get to the second critique, the Critique of Practical Reason. As I said, enrollment is now open, so please just follow the link in the description of this video down below to register. We will begin on the 20th of April, which is a Saturday, just 2 days before his birthday, which would have been on the 22nd of April. So if you follow this link and enroll, then you can choose from 3 different options. You could either enroll in the self-study tier, which is asynchronous study. That means that you can take this course and study it at your own pace without live lectures and without live seminars. The second tier is the philosophical fellowship or seminar tier, which means that I will present live lectures for about 30-45 minutes in the beginning, followed by a brief breakout session where you discuss what you've just heard and what you've been reading in this week, during the week, in a group of perhaps 3 to 4 people. And afterwards, we'll have at least 1 hour of group discussion where you can ask your questions and play, with your ideas that you came up with as you were reading Kant. So what will be provided is selected readings for each week. It would be a good idea if you could get a physical copy of Kant's books. And I will also upload one long video for the beginning so that you can get an understanding for Kant and the entire project that he's engaging in, why he is so revolutionary. Can I just point out that if Kant had written something as benign and harmless as an epistemology, he would not have become the most important philosopher since Aristotle. So the first critique, or none of the critiques, amount to an epistemology, not at all. What Kant explicitly, by his own words, is doing is addressing the form of thought, that is to say, logic. So the work of the first critique is a transcendental logic. The transcendental idealism that emerges from it is one that is to be starkly separated from Platonism and other forms of idealism. And again, one can draw out a certain epistemology, but what is more at stake is the a priori forms of thought that are required and need to be supposed in order for there to be any thought, any experience, and importantly also any scientific experience in the first place. So we will consider Kant in terms of being a philosopher whose thinking allows us to fly airplanes. It is transcendental logic that allows us to fly airplanes. This may sound rather odd and strange if you've never heard this before, but think about it in this way. The regularity by which the transcendental logic allows us to control for the way in which, let's say, kerosene reacts in the engine of the airplane. This is what Kant is ultimately after. Obviously, Kant did not know that there would be airplanes, but it is this kind of rearrangement of the manifold of appearances so that they follow a cohesive ordering before any experience that gives rise to an approach to the world where things, what they are in themselves, are not really what is at stake. The ousia, the genuine essence of a particular thing, is not what Kant is after, but scientific regularity. So we will be looking at Kant himself in this manner, also Kant's notion of freedom, of transcendental freedom, the sublime and nature, which is what he addresses in the third critique. And also Kant is really a philosopher of science, and the philosopher of science, if you like, for the modern age. So I hope that you can join me when we read Kant in honor of his 300th birthday at the end of April, 20th of April, as I mentioned before. That's when we begin. And the link to enroll is in the description of this video and also somewhere up here. So I hope that you can join us. And if you have any questions, please just leave a comment. I will try and get back to you as quickly as I can. And if you know anyone who's interested in Kant or Hegel or any post-Kantian philosophy really, so if you're interested in Schopenhauer or Fichte or Schelling, Hölderlin, the German Romantics more broadly perhaps also, Nietzsche, Marx, Husserl, Heidegger, the phenomenologists in general, Merleau-Ponty, and others, then Kant is absolutely indispensable. Obviously also one of the major ghosts of the internet age is accelerationism, which is based on Kant. And we will look at not so much accelerationism, but if you have an interest in it, we can definitely discuss also how Kant factors into this and where perhaps also the accelerationists get Kant a bit wrong. So I hope that you can join me again. Link to enroll is down there in the description of this video. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.